A very good evening and welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. Welcome to the penultimate Premier League roundup show of the 2023-24 season. We now enter the decisive week of the Premier League season. We all but know the three sides that are going to be relegated back down to the Championship immediately this season. There's still European places to be secured, and of course, there's still the title race to be solved. So yeah, there's still plenty to get through over the next week. Josh is joining me as always. Josh, how are you, mate?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. And to complete the panel, Mr. Sean Lewis, how are you?
Hello, mate. Fresh in from work, I am.
Oh, there we
Still
go.
looking a bit dishevelled.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And just to finish off my intro, we enter a week now with Spurs fans and West Ham fans with their views aligned, reciting the Blue Moon, hoping for the right outcome come 6 o'clock on Sunday evening. Who will lift that Premier League trophy? Hopefully it's the blue team. If it's the red team, then we're going to be in for a fun few weeks. But yeah, there's still plenty of action, plenty of things to be decided. And hello to everybody joining us in the chat. Josh's granddad is in, good evening from Merseyside. Curtis as well. I hope you are well. We will start in London, the posh part of London, and at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Manchester City 4. Now, this is Josh's game, but Sean, we sat on here last Monday before Man United got battered, saying this was the banana skin, anything but in the end. Josh, Fulham 0, Manchester City 4.
Yeah, well, City, they're just in that part of the season where they're just battering anyone who comes near them. It took a while to get into that stride. They haven't really looked the same team this season until probably about March or April, where they've started to look good again. And yeah, you felt like that had to be that was the last chance of stopping them. Way they're Fulham are a funny team. They're the type of team that'll just get a win randomly from a game like that and then go lose to Sheffield United or something. So you thought before the game, they might have a big say in the title race, but I think it's over now. I can't see. I don't want to jinx because we're still going for Champions League, but I definitely can't see Spurs beating Man City. I think a point would definitely keep the hopes alive for the Champions League. But as for Spurs, I just don't see anyone stopping Man City now at the moment. They're just in that part of the season where they just look unstoppable. For West Ham's the last game in Rome as well, which I can't see them causing too much trouble there. So Arsenal, they've been pretty much perfect this year, apart from obviously the loss of home to us. Apart from that, they've been almost perfect. And if they would have won that game, I think it would have been in their hands. And yeah, it's just the league's getting more and more uncompetitive. And this will be 5 out of 6 years if City win this. So yeah, as for the game itself, they sort of dominated really. Fulham had the one big chance from Muniz just before City scored the second goal, which that went in different game, but they didn't take the chance. Then City, once they got the second goal, then they just battered them. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be City's again, which I don't really care because I wouldn't exactly want Arsenal to win it either. But yeah, we'll see what happens when they play Spurs in the week.
Absolutely, and yeah, I just had to flick through a very quick, albeit flick through Man City's results, and I think their last defeat was to you lot back in back on the 6th of December. Josh, was their last defeat in the Premier League. A few draws chucked in there, but yeah, I mean they always go on a mad run, and it was through December, through January, February, March, April, and well into May that they have gone unbeaten. And look, fair play to them. They hopefully, if things go right this week, will lift that trophy. And there's plenty of discussion about the Villa-Liverpool game we'll get onto in the latter end of the show. But my input just initially is I hope Villa win to start with. But the overarching prediction that I have is I want Unai Emery to wind Jurgen Klopp up, because if he gets a yellow card, Klopp's banned from the touchline for the final game. And wouldn't that be amusing if he can't be on the touchline for his grand farewell? That would be poetic, to say the very least. City were in cruise mode, absolutely. Andy is in Villa 3-1 tonight with the fingers crossed. There we go. Right, let's go to the 3 o'clocks then. Quite a few 3 o'clocks this weekend. We'll start at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 2, Burnley 1. I went back to the good old-fashioned memes on Saturday because I didn't really want to watch West Ham particularly. So I watched Soccer Saturday, which was a drag. But I can't even remember who was doing this game. And Burnley took the lead, and Mickey or Slippy Van de Ven, depending on what you want to call him, came up with a good goal to victory, Sean.
Yeah, sort of like most games, I'd imagine, sort of had an end of season feel to it a little bit. Sun was shining in the stadium. I suppose Spurs, they looked all right. Do you know what I mean? They've looked all right most of the year. The better players have probably been the centre halves in most of the games. Van de Ven and Romero, I think they're probably my first two if I was going to pick player of the year for the club. Porro scored, another defender as well, another great finish. Yeah, we're sort of just getting towards the end of the season, John. I can't describe it any more than that. I know Andy's come out today and sort of said, of course we want to win, blah, blah, blah. Not many sensible Spurs fans want to win. I think I said last week about the fourth spot in Champions League, how in the past, when we've had other teams in the past, which are probably a bit stronger, where it felt like fourth spot was really, like we really needed it. Hasn't, and we've had Champions League, I think, 5 or 6 times. This season, for various reasons, there's not a clamouring from the fans to get fourth. It doesn't feel there's no pressure at all for the club to get fourth. Even listening to Ange talks, I think he said the other day the team's not ready for Champions League yet. Just, I don't think fourth suits us at all in the current position of the rebuild. So yeah, I'm in the part where I happily roll over for Man City tomorrow in a half-empty stadium with a bit of luck.
Do you know what? I saw that. I saw the video of some Spurs fan put up the ticket exchange about there's literally like any seat where you want available to buy, which is mildly amusing. Which could descend into Arsenal fans buying tickets and going there, which would be a bit weird. I've seen a few people say that, but it's going to be bizarre tomorrow. It's going to be Peter Drury and Gary Neville on commentary. That I think they're going to be a bit bemused of what to say, to be honest. And I've just got a feeling, the way Andrew was speaking today, of course he can't come out and say we're going out there to lose. He just can't say that. But I've just got a feeling that I don't know. I've got something inside me telling me that Spurs are just going to pop up despite what everybody wants. It would be a proper Spursy thing to do exactly what the Spurs fans don't want to do and go out there and pick something up and inadvertently gift Arsenal the title, which is what we all don't want. But I've just got a feeling that there's a chance of it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I suppose that is lingering in the back of most people's mind a little bit. And obviously, Man City have got a terrible record at our place. I think they've only beaten us in the FA Cup this year since we've had the stadium. But we've got some key injuries. Basuma's now out for the season. He's starting to play well again. We've missed all season long. I know you weren't a fan. All season long, we've missed Richarlison when he's not fully fit and playing. He's if he was fully fit, sniffs and butts, obviously. If he was fully fit, he'd be up around the 20-goal mark this season. I'm in no doubt about that at all. But we miss him. We're not the same with Son down the middle at all. No. So that's 2 out. We've already got Udogie out. And Man City are at full strength. I don't think they've got an injury in the whole squad. So you know how Tottenham play. We're going to give Man City chances, but we will just be open against any team. I remember saying to at the beginning of this, near the start of the season, when we went to the Etihad with about 8 players out and had to play 2 fullbacks, centre half. I said, he won't change. I mean, he didn't change and we got a 3-3. So don't be shocked if it's along those lines. We will go for it. We will be open. I just don't think we got enough players in form at the moment to do as much damage as we need to. Hence, we had 2 defenders score again at the weekend. Both great goals, but 2 defenders. Son, better on the left. We haven't really got anyone else that can play down the middle. I'll be surprised if Tottenham get anything, to be quite honest. But
there's one thing that is guaranteed, and that's goals.
There'll be goals, and obviously, if Ange really does want, if he does really want fourth, which I'm not convinced he even does, that might his approach might change a little bit how tonight's game is. I don't know.
True.
I don't know, but I'm not convinced the club really want Champions League. I sort of sense they feel like it might be a bit of a unnecessary burden at the wrong time a little bit.
No, that's fair enough. Let's go to Tyneside next. Newcastle 1, Brighton 1. Brighton took the lead in this game, I think. Newcastle pulled it back. not a fantastic result for the Geordies, who are pushing for those European spots, as Brighton have dropped down a little bit into the bottom half of the table. Josh, your take on this?
Yeah, don't know too much about the game, to be honest, but yeah, Newcastle, it's been a funny old season for them, really. They were so good at home last year, but it feels like there's been a few of them this season where they've played a side that expected to beat at home, and they haven't done it. I think they're still just about holding on to sixth, but or Chelsea might have an, I'm not sure. As for Brighton, and if we're going to know what this game is, Joel Veltman scored, who I put in fantasy football this weekend, which is a lucky touch. But yeah, again, Brighton, after all the Zerbi getting all these jobs talk has gone a bit quiet. I believe in April they didn't score one goal until they played us, so they went home without scoring. Said last week the only goal they scored was against Burnley when it went under the goalkeeper's foot and went in, and they got a point. So it's been a bit of a rough second half of the season for them. You think without any Europe, they'd be a bit better, but I don't even know if they can mathematically get even the conference anymore. So yeah, it's been a bit of an underwhelming season for Brighton, but they're just one of them clubs are probably just happy to be in the Premier League, in League One about 6 or 7 years ago. So yeah, I can't say I know too much about Skate, to be honest, but yeah, Newcastle, they'd probably rather get the top 6 in the conference and another year in Europe for them, and benefit them financially too. But yeah, it's been a funny old season for both, and they've definitely both struggled with European football.
Not sure about Brighton on that. I don't know, because I haven't heard too much, aggravation and anger from Brighton fans on social media, and I haven't seen too many issues. But they haven't been great this season. To be fair, I thought they were actually lower than they were. They are 10th, 4 points off us with a game in hand, so they could do it if they win both games. They've got Chelsea and Man United next. They've got to win both games if they want to jump above us, but. I don't know. I think Brighton this season have been massively hampered by the European campaign. They just never really recover from it, I think. And yeah, I suppose it will go down as an underwhelming season for the Seagulls. It could be a 4-1 City win or a draw. Yeah, no, I get that. We ain't helping Arsenal, all right? It says Bowlesy, our resident person. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Next up, we'll go to Molineux. Another interesting storyline here, evolving in terms of Crystal Palace. Wolves 1, Crystal Palace 3. Just after we came off air last Monday, Sean, the demolition at Selhurst Park of Manchester United. Then they go and they beat Wolves by quite a fair margin there as well. I'm going to be honest, I'm very impressed by what Oliver Glasner's doing there.
Yeah, I've just read getting him from work. The Bayern Munich have approached him, haven't they, to try and get him? And they asked for 100 million euros to release clause.
Yeah.
It doesn't shock me. I know he's obviously is Austrian descent, and I think he has worked in the Bundesliga before, hasn't he? I think I'm right in saying that. I remember. I think Tottenham played him one of the early games. Just might have been his first match in, and it was far too early to tell what was going to happen. But obviously he's kicked on. The front three look electric, as you'd expect. They're all going to get linked elsewhere in the summer.
Yeah,
I think I'm sure you'd like to take at least a couple of them. Yeah, it's a weird one, Nick, because obviously it's like a very astute signing. I remember saying about probably at the start of the season when I said about clubs taking their time to find the next manager. Remember I said they had Roy Hodgson, and I said Palace and the Wolves. A few of the players around mid-table, very little to play for. They got that sort of little luxury of having a free hit at this season because the bottom three was so bad that they could take their time, and it looks like so far Palace have nailed that. It really does. Like they obviously Vieira didn't work out. They brought Hodgson back in to just stabilise it a bit, and now Glasner he does look good. They've got the individual quality there. Same with Palace, the same as most sort of clubs around that sort of size. It's when they're going to make good money for the sales now, like Brighton do. It's just who they get in then, and I don't know if he's got the control over the sales. But yeah, it's a story of football. Like these slightly lesser clubs are a bit of a stepping stone. So the teams do well, and they're in the bright lights a little bit. Teams like Bayern, where he's got a bit of a reputation over there, they're going to look. And the same will happen in the Premier League. The same could happen with Villa, in my opinion. I don't know where Villa are financially, but if Emery keeps doing well, then the next move's going to come for him. I believe that's just the nature of the beast. If you're a certain sort of level or of a club, but fair play for them turning down the bid. I think it was 18 million euros they offered, didn't they? Something ridiculous. And Bayern are struggling to get a manager. I've seen a post. They didn't link your new manager, but they linked 4 names that have turned it down already. And they might even have to go back with a tail between their legs to try and keep Tuchel on. So
yeah, I'm going to make a bold statement about Crystal Palace. If they can keep hold of the manager and the front 3, and of course that's a big if, I think they'll be nailed on top 10 next season, and I think they're the wild card for that Conference League spot. They're sort of underdog to go under the radar. I've been nothing but impressed. I saw them in person when they scored 4 inside half an hour against us and completely blew us away. And that's the sort of manager, if we were a little bit more proactive, that's the sort of manager that we'd have wanted to try and bring in. Palace is the perfect example. Of Roy Hodgson, they acted quickly and they got this fella in, and look now, and he's a perfect example of that, in my opinion. Right, we'll go on to the next game. West Ham 3, Luton 1 is next. A game of 2 halves. Really, we were poor by all accounts in the first half. No surprise to any West Ham fans to find ourselves a goal down. Somehow managed to turn things around. Not quite sure how or why we did it in the second half opposed to the first half, if I'm honest. Some good goals in there. Ward-Prowse had one neatly into the corner. It's a really good volley from Souček on the edge of the box, and fantastic for the youngster George Murphy to come on and get the third goal. It's brilliant instincts from a magnificent run from Mohamed Kudus, and that was the game. Obviously Luton, that's all but relegated them. Obviously there's a 12-goal swing or something that's got to happen for them to survive on the final day of the season, with Chelsea beating Forest in the end in the Saturday night football. So they're all but down, and that showed by their appreciation of their fans at the end as well. Josh, some thoughts on not particularly the game, but West Ham and Luton as a whole in the away side?
Yeah, Luton, we've been saying it all season. They've been most competitive out of any of the promoted teams by far, and they've proved everybody wrong by being in it this long, really. I think most people had them rock bottom, just basically do what Sheffield United have done. And they've given it a good go all the way. They had a very good spell between December and February, where they give a few big teams games, but unlucky to lose to Arsenal. I think it was 4-3. And they battered Brighton 4-0 at home, and they looked hard to beat. They had a way of playing, and people started to believe. But I think it was that Bournemouth game where they were 3-0 up at half time and lost 4-3, which sort of just killed them off, really. And they didn't really look the same team since. They've won once since that. Obviously, when you get beat at home, we said at the time, it was 5-0 to Brentford. They're the type of home games you've got to be taking points, or never mind losing like that if you want to stay in the league. So I think that sort of sealed it. But yeah, teams like Forest are lucky. The newly promoted teams have been so poor. With the money they've spent, Luton shouldn't be even close to teams like them. So you should definitely be proud. And if they keep all the fewer players, they might have a chance of coming back again and be a bit stronger. And giving it a good go in a couple of years' time. But they definitely should be proud of themselves. They've been the most competitive out the newly promoted teams by a long distance.
Yeah, and I think the David Goliath sort of story of it has warmed to a few people as well, and I've quite enjoyed watching their story go through, and ifs and buts, especially in the big games where they've lost by the odd goal, or that Arsenal comeback at Kenilworth Road under the lights was ridiculous. Where they were 3-1 up, where they were leading and lost 4-3 at the end or something, and they were beating Liverpool after an hour or something, and it's just ifs and buts in the games. They've just run out of steam at the end, and I'd have loved them to stay up, to be honest. I thought that would have been brilliant, and a good 2 fingers up to the Premier League as well. I thought that would have been brilliant not to be. Unfortunately, barring an absolute miracle on the final day of the season, look, I'd much prefer Luton to come up than the Burnleys and the Sheffield Uniteds that go up and down year in, year out, and we know what they're going to do. I don't really want to see Sheffield United again anytime soon because it's just boring. Maybe Ipswich is going to be the replica of Luton this year with a bigger budget, obviously. Maybe that's the link you could make there going into next season. But I'd love to see Luton come back into the Premier League. I hope they keep hold of Rob Edwards and give him the opportunity to get them back up again. Seems like a pretty decent manager in that sense. And yeah, look, it is where it is. Right, let's take some comments. Bowlesy says, if Arsenal win, we'll never hear the end of it. Neither will we. So we're in the same boat there. Absolutely. Sean, thanks for joining us. I hope you're well. Champions, you made us sing that. We'll be ringing around the Etihad before we concede on Sunday. So that'll be about 13 seconds at the Etihad. Right. It's taken 19 minutes for this to come in. Not an easy cup to win. Villa lost to a team we knocked out of the Europa. To be honest, Josh, you got your wish after your scandalous statement not wanting to win the Conference League over a Champions League spot. It looks like you've got your wish.
Oh, no, we're not even nailed on for a Champions League yet.
Spurs aren't going to go and beat City. Relax.
You don't know. I can't see us getting another point with how we've been playing last few weeks and the injuries we've got. So we're relying on Spurs to get beat. That's all I'm saying.
Wow, there we go. A few touchy nerves at Villa Park, I'm sensing. Right. Andoni Iraola announced a 1-year contract extension at Bournemouth today, keeping his stay at Dean Court until 2026. A magnificent announcement for Bill Foley and everybody involved with Bournemouth. They didn't win at the weekend. They fell 2-1 down to Brentford. Goals late on in this game. Some VAR drama in there as well, just for good luck. Solanke scores again, and a Brentford winner towards the end, Sean, I think.
Yeah, this is probably like one of the sort of dead rubbers in the middle a little bit. Bournemouth, Bournemouth have like been one of the funny sort of sides where they'll be class one week, drop points at home the next. Brentford, I would go as far as saying this year Brentford have probably been the most forgettable team in the league, I'd say.
Yeah,
because a lot of teams you can sort of link like a little story to them or a little bit of flashy form here and there. I think the only story of Brentford this season really was Ivan Toney coming back. He hasn't scored in 10 games. Yeah. So I just think they're just a little bit. I think because obviously they were like a bit like a Luton, I suppose, when they come up a little bit. So they're they're a bit of a story. They had a new stadium that creates a bit of a fuss. Just think this season they just feel like they fizzled out a little bit. So the interest is in the media has waned a little bit. They've had the Tony stuff, and he's not helped the club by being quite outspoken about his future plans. I don't think he's been that great for him either since he's come back. So probably his ego's getting a bit bruised there. But yeah, I think I like Bournemouth. I like the manager. He's probably a young up-and-coming one to sort of keep an eye on. I know Leeds were linked to him that season when they were struggling to stay up and kept sacking managers, but couldn't get him away from Spain. Like Bournemouth, Brentford, I don't know. At what point does Thomas Frank get bored? Do you know what I mean? With them, I'm almost thinking, will he walk soon or will he sack him? I think he'll end up probably walking. It screams to me like when a manager just takes a club as far as he can, he might just sort of, don't know, just walk away a little bit. That's what I kind of see happening with them. But
dependent on the quality of the teams that come up next season, I think Brentford could be banging trouble.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the club. They don't brilliant what they've built up. But now like the immediate fairy tale them being up here for a couple of years has sort of fizzled out a bit. They've just had a very forgettable season. Like I couldn't pluck out we've gone about Fulham being inconsistent. I know they've been brilliant at home. I couldn't tell you what Brentford have been like at home because nothing jumps out the page when you say Brentford season. I can't really think of a great deal that's gone on. Do you know what I mean?
Whenever you say Brentford, literally the only thing I can remember was when they did that like WWE thing for Ivan Toney when he came back. Like that's literally the only thing that jumps out of me at Brentford. Yeah. I agree.
I agree. You can usually link something to a team, can't you, through the season? Yeah. Or it's a little run. It hasn't even got to be a good run. You could have like a shocking team like Sheffield United. They've been awful. They've been getting drubbed, but at least we're sort of talking about them a little bit.
Exactly.
Brentford,
So to link this to this situation, so we could go for Josh's Villa, as when he said he didn't want to win the Conference League, and for Spurs and Sean, it's when Van der Ven slipped over on his arse twice inside 30 seconds and conceded 2 goals from it. That's the 2 moments that stick out of me. Have you got any about West Ham, you two? So you can give it back if you like.
You wanting Moyes out for about 3 seasons after he's got you to an established European side and his relegation battle
Here we go.
team for that.
Okay. All right. So Josh, you think that I shouldn't want David Moyes to leave? No?
No, but he's wanted them out for a while, haven't he? Really,
Yeah.
it's not just been this season.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. Sean, anything?
I don't recall a great deal about your season that stands out to me massively, to be honest.
What about the 4 points we took off you?
No, because I always look at the league table at the end of the season. And that's
I'm
always more
fishing,
important.
Sean. I'm fishing.
I will say on the Moyes front, which is quite funny, wanting them out, that most of the families wanted him out for about 6 months before he went and lifted his trophy. You keep going on about, so it almost feels a bit harsh on him to want him out. But then we'll stop for that 1 month we lift the trophy, and then we'll carry on after that the next season. So yeah, it has felt like a bit of a burden over you, the Moyes sort of the last year, probably 18 months, almost like in out, what we doing. And I know you go on about the Conference League, but I've seen a lot of your shows where you announce the team lineups and after the games. I didn't see a great deal of excitement like you'd expect from a team winning a trophy after winning it, if I'm totally honest. I thought I'd see more. I think your fan base have harped on more in the last year since winning it than you did straight after it. It wasn't like you were in the streets parading it down the street on a bus or anything like that.
Well, we were. Did you not see the big bus parade and everything else? No?
No, I didn't, mate, to be honest.
Did. You did, because you came on here and you actually tweeted me and said fair play for the celebrations and then slagged off.
Maybe it was forgettable after all then, because that's a bit embarrassing. I should have. But it's been a weird 18 months for West Ham. I think a lot of clubs might have pulled the trigger earlier. It was that Europa Conference little run which probably kept them in the job. Was it worth it? You probably most fans say yes, but
yeah.
Now you're at
the
other
stance I held was that if we'd have got rid of him at the end of last season after the win, I think everybody would have been a lot more appreciative. And I know people going, you can't sack him after he's won a trophy. If they could have come to a mutual agreement, we will move on.
If he wasn't a stubborn old boot, which he obviously is, because he'd still be there next season if he had his way, just doing the same old thing. If he wasn't
really
a stubborn old boot and thought about it sensibly, then he'd have walked away end of last season.
Yeah, I agree. Which is what the majority of the fan base wanted him to. Right, we're on a time schedule. We can't have Josh missing Villa beat Liverpool tonight. We cannot have that. Right. Well, let's take some calls very quickly before we move on. Right, the under 21s are playing tonight, 0-0 after 22 minutes. Earthy is involved. 4 wins in 2024. That's why we've been a little bit disgruntled. We'll leave that there. And to be fair, it was 3 before Saturday, and we were lucky to get those, some of them. Anyway, right, we'll go to Merseyside, shall we? Everton 1, Sheffield United 0. A good old no one cares game for you, Josh.
Yeah. Who even watched this game? Yeah, it's Everton. They've had a very good not really second half of the season, more just back in the season. That's 5 home wins in a row for them now. I think it's 1 loss in the last 7. Dyche got managed a month as well for April. So yeah, they definitely come into form. I think they'd be 11th in the table without the points deduction. So I know Dyche took a lot of stick off the fan base this season. I know my granddad has had some quite strong thoughts on him at times. But when you look at that 11th with that team, with no point deductions, and you look at that way, he has done a very good job. The football, it's never going to be pretty, but they very rare get battered, and that's the good thing about having Dyche. Obviously, apart from the Chelsea game, which was just a bit of a one-off, and since then they've massively improved because they haven't lost since then. 4 wins out of the last 5 unbeaten. So yeah, the good thing about Dyche is that I think if the best managers get the best out of that team, whether he's the best manager to take Everton forward as a club, he probably isn't. But for that team that they've got now, I don't think there's a better manager to get the best out of that team. He's doing what he can basically with what he's got. And I don't think Everton are going to get any significant investment anytime soon. So I definitely think it'd be the wrong thing to get rid of Dyche because no one's going to do a better job than him with that team. If they do eventually get new owners, ambitious owners, and Dyche gets them to about 13th, 14th again next season, and then they put a bit of money in, maybe then it's time to get a more up and coming young manager and get rid of Dyche. But at the moment, they just need to focus on knockout administration. So yeah, the Dyche just gives them another stable year, with getting little investment because I believe the takeover is very close to collapsing at the moment. So yeah, I've heard rumours are going to be going into administration. I'm not sure how true that is, but we'll see what happens in that one either way. They're not going to get major investment. They're still in trouble with FFP. They still might have to sell. So, this summer, they're not going to spend big. It's going to be the same again. They're going to be fighting next season. So, for Dyche is definitely the best manager for that. And if they do get to take over, as I just said, then that's when they can start being a bit more ambitious. But for now, I don't think there's a better man than Dyche for the job as much as they've slagged him off and as bad as the football's been. As for Sheffield United, there's not much more to say about them. I think that's over 100 goals conceded now for them, which is the worst ever. They've still got a game to play. I think they've got Tottenham on the last day. We score a lot of goals, so it could get even worse for them.
I think you've both collectively over the last couple of months just went, as for Sheffield United, it's just a chore to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just sick of talking about them. It's the same thing all season. We've said they sold the two best players in the summer straight away. What chance have they got? And it's just got worse every week. Looked a bit brighter, and they brought Wilder in, got a few good results, but no, you put Guardiola in charge of that team, and they'd still go down. It's just that team. It's not good enough, and I believe they've got about 20 played out of contract in the summer or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, I've heard someone saying before they've got more chance of getting back to that relegations than they have of going straight back up next year. And I know they've got a point deduction coming when they go down as well, so it's looking quite grim for them. But yeah, it's I can't say much about the game to be honest, because yeah, I hardly even knew it was on until Saturday night to be honest. But yeah, that's it.
You did well. There we go. Right. Sharky has correctly, sorry. We had an open top bus parade. Do you want to see a picture, Sean?
Let me ask you a question a minute.
Oh.
Do you, as much as you've enjoyed winning that trophy,
yeah,
do you think it was wise to an open top bus for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at that. Look. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant it was. Yeah.
Did the bus drove down the 3 roads that you associate with West Ham?
No, he drove all the way through Stratford and to the town hall thing where there was thousands of people. Bearing in mind we held this the night after, so most 15,000, 20,000 West Ham fans were still in.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Most of them weren't even there.
Exactly, yeah. So that was stupid planning, but the streets were still full. Yeah, that's just what they look like, Sean. When the time comes.
I'll be honest. If say my club won the League Cup, I wouldn't expect them to do an open top bus.
Oh, they will.
If they
your fans will be demanding it.
If they did, I would cringe a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, you'd be the first one getting on the 303 up there.
Nottingham
Forest 2, Chelsea 3 is next. We will next week resolve all of our storylines throughout the season. Next week I've planned, right? We'll do one night the week after next. So after the Sunday that finishes it all off, we'll make sure you're both available one night, and we're going to go through the important 3 or 4 games and then finish off the season as a whole, not talk about the irrelevant clubs. Sorry for the irrelevant clubs. And we'll wrap off all the storylines, all the topics that you're itching to get at me, you two, and I'm to get at you. So get your mind churning over the next week. We'll have a good old debate next Monday or Tuesday, whenever, to wrap off the season. So yeah, but Sean, Nottingham Forest 2, Chelsea 3. Forest were 2-1 up in this game, and it was flipping loud in there, the City Ground. I watched it. It's a brilliant ground, brilliant club. But Chelsea, 2 goals in 2 minutes, turned it around, sort of dampens the spirits a little bit, but they're going to stay up, barring a miracle.
Yeah, Forest Ground's always a loud ground, and I don't know if it's true, sir, that owner's on about even maybe moving, taking
I
it
hope
away.
not. It's a brilliant ground. I've been there.
Yeah, I don't
once,
know. I
yeah.
did read that. I don't know whether it's just paper talk or not. But yeah, Chelsea are finishing strong, aren't they? Really, can't give them a. I know they got thumped by Arsenal long ago, but they do seem to beat us. Did they beat you as well recently? Was that recently?
Who, Chelsea? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chelsea did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they finished strong. I wouldn't expect miracles from them next year. Still, I still think there are quite a few players off, and I think they probably might even have to sell a couple of players as well. And I wouldn't hold my breath Pochettino even being there that long, because still not sure he's the answer. But yeah, Forest are going to do just about enough to stay up. Obviously, they had the small points deduction as well. How many points would it be on if they didn't have the deduction, by the way?
I think they have 4 points deducted. Is that right?
About 30, I think.
So they had 4 points deducted, so they'd be on 33.
Now, so that's 33. What normal points?
Normal.
That must be a record low for staying up. Like right down there.
And they're on 29, and they're going to stay up.
I know it's just such a low total. I know. I kept sort of thinking for ages. Forest, we finally got enough good players to get a win, and the win didn't come. Then the win still didn't come. Yeah, and obviously we sort of hoped they got Luton final day, haven't they? Is it Luton final day?
Chelsea.
Forest. Who played each other on the final day to the low sides?
Forest and Burnley.
Forest and Burnley. Yeah, because we sort of hoped it would go to the final day a little bit, but yeah, same as you said about we expected Brentford to be down there, probably Everton to be down there next year. Probably can't see Forest being much higher than what they are now, but you'd like to think they'd need to get more than 29 points to stay up. That's a real low. That's a real low amount to stay up. Like real, quite bad, really. And they're very, very fortunate that they've had the 3 teams below them have had the season they have, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, life ain't fair, for goodness sake. You know, they're going to stay up on 29, and we went down on 42 or 43 a few years ago. That's just not fair. Life's not fair. 43 points we were on, and they're going to stay up on 29. That should be illegal. That should be illegal to stay up on 29 points in the Premier League. But anyway, right. The Super Sunday game is left to you, Josh. Just the solitary game, and it came from Old Trafford. A rather wet at the end. Old Trafford, may I add. Man United 0, Arsenal 1. I was set up for a cracker, and it just didn't provide, if I'm honest.
Yeah, the most exciting part was the Old Trafford waterfall at the end, to be honest. It's a bit of a crap day in terms of football yesterday. 2 playoff games and Championship as well, also 0-0.
I watched 3 games and saw 1 goal, for goodness sake.
Yeah, so there's one goal in the 3 games yesterday, so it wasn't the best. Yeah, there's not much to say. The goal is just pathetic, really. Casemiro, too slow to get out, and Trossard puts it in, just a low cross into the box. Obviously, United got battered about 6 days before against Palace, which is just quite embarrassing as well. Casemiro and Evans, I'm surprised they kept the places even though they've got no one. I thought he'd even try and put another midfielder in the fence after how bad they were in that game. Casemiro, they were all saying last year he's like best number 6 they've ever had and all that. Well, even when he has played in his right position this season, he hasn't looked bothered. And I'm sure he said at the start of the basically even said at the start of the season doesn't want to be there. It's just he's got it at the wrong time really. He's about 31 now. Nowhere near good enough. Then you've got Johnny Evans next to him at centre back, who I think they brought him in as basically just to be like a mentor, a player coach sort of thing, fifth choice, fourth choice centre half, and he'd ended up playing most of the games. So like he couldn't even get in at Leicester last season. I think he played about 2 or 3 games for them, and they went down. So that just shows the problems at the club, and so does the leaky roof at the end as well. But no, I actually thought United second half they were a better team. They gave it a good go. To be fair, they have had a few good results against the bigger teams this year. They were 1-0 up against City for about 70 minutes. A couple of months back, they've gone unbeaten against Liverpool. They drawn against Spurs. They beat Villa twice. They've done okay against the better sides this year. They had a bit of a go, but no real clear-cut chances. No end product. Garnacho, he must have had about 4 1v1s with Ben White, and he just picked the wrong decision in all of them. Lost the ball, and that's the sort like the forwards they've got now. Diallo, Anthony, Garnacho, they're all 1 in 5 men. They'll give you 4 bad games and then 1 world game. And then Hoyland as well, who's meant to be one of the best players this season. I'm still not convinced for £80 million anyway. And then with Fernandez, who's still out as well, I believe. So, yeah, they're struggling United. I don't know how they're still so high up in the league. It feels like they just seem to lose every week. Are they still 740? It would be nice to see them in the conference. I've said that a few times. I'm not sure they've got on the last day. Yeah, as for Arsenal, it was a crucial win. It weren't a great performance. It was a sort of performance by a team who's in a tight race, away performance towards the end of the season. They grinded it out. It's not in their hands. They were cheering Spurs on. I've just got a feeling Spurs that they could do it, especially if we don't get in it tonight. And then if Spurs draw and beat Sheffield United and we don't get another point, then Spurs get top 4, which that's
There we
very,
go. There's
very much
that
possible.
tetchiness there for Aston Villa
Yeah,
again.
it's very much possible. So yeah, I'll be cheering City on. I don't really want either to win City or Arsenal. I'd probably rather choose Arsenal just because make the league a bit more competitive instead of City winning 5 with the last 6. But then I can't really stand Arsenal either and Arteta, so it's one of them. But no, I thought United, to be fair, yesterday they gave it a decent go, but there's so many problems at the club, and I don't think Ten Hag will be there in the summer. And that FA Cup final, well, it could be cricket scores, but
That'll be
we'll
a
see.
laugh. That'll be a
Yeah.
laugh. Josh, let me remind you, 63 and 67. There's still 4 points between the two sides. Imagine if it was level. That's messed my light up here. Imagine if it was level going into the final day. Just calm
Yeah.
down. It's all going to be okay whilst I try and sort this light. If I wanted to be fancy, Sean, I'd say the leaky roof at Manchester United is a symbolic metaphor of the state of the football club. It's not good, is it?
No, you wait and see how half of these so-called injured players be fit for the cup final, because I just think I did read couple of the newspapers saying the dressing room's in a worse state than it was under Mourinho at the end. So don't be surprised to see your Rashfords all of a sudden become fully fit. Fernandez has sort of carried them quite a lot this season, I think, and even him, I think he's out injured with a sprained wrist. So it's whether who was fit, whether he's saving a few for the cup final in a fortnight. So not really sure there. But the squad isn't a mess. My my workmate is a United fan. We were chatting about it on the way home from work tonight, and we're going through the squad, and obviously you've got to do this homegrown quota a little bit, but they're going to need a right back. I think Wan-Bissaka's linked the loads of clubs. Can they trust Luke Shaw staying fit at left back now? Probably not, but they've got to stick with him because he's English. They've got to probably cash in on Varane and Casemiro. Let's be honest, Real Madrid rarely let players go at the top of the game, and they've seen United come in there well and truly, both of them. Josh said about Johnny Evans, you know what I mean? He's come in. Maguire, he's probably been one of the better players this season, if I'm honest. And then you go through midfield, then you're down the likes of McTominay. Yeah, and you got McTominay, he's been linked to you for ages. You got Anthony, probably one of the worst signings in the last couple of years. I don't think can't be many worse than him. And then you got Ericsson, who looks like he's probably coming to the end. Mason Mount's never done a thing. He's barely been fit. I don't know how many 90-minute games he's had this season. And then it brings you into the realm of like Mainu and Garnacho, both talented boys. I don't think either are probably ready to be starting for Man United. The sort of level you expect United to go for. Højlund up front, he's probably done a bit better and slowly got into it as the season's gone on.
Yeah.
I'm still a believer. Spent a lot of money on him. I think it was 60, 70 million. Again, though, he seemed, for a Man United, I sort of feel like he's a sort of striker that probably should be playing second fiddle, like say when they had Abramovich up front. So they got an experienced head up front, a young, pricey.
They don't want Abramovich up front. The former Chelsea owner.
Ibrahimovic, I'm thinking of.
Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a mess. Do you know what I mean? You can go through it and through it and through it, and I don't know how they've rebuilt the squad.
I tell you what. I was thinking about this
when they
earlier.
had Cavani up front and they had like Martial sort of as a backup. Do you know what I mean? That's when they had a bit of strength in depth, and it's just a bit decimated now. I just don't know where to go from it.
It's a mess that needs to be obliterated before it can be built on, I think, at Manchester United. There isn't much of a foundation to build on there, whether you're talking about the football players, whether you're talking about the stadium to start with. I mean, that was for the best football club, the biggest football club in the world. That is a public embarrassment yesterday with those. Yes, it was a storm and it was rather heavy, but I mean, those pictures and scenes, and it was leaking through the away dressing room, for goodness sake. You can't be having that at any professional level of football, for goodness sake. I wouldn't expect that over Wincanton. No wonder at Manchester United. I mean, come on, it's not good. It's
well,
the theatre of leaks.
They haven't picked Old Trafford for the Euro is it the Euros coming up? The World Cup?
Don't blame them. Who would? They swerved clear of that.
Yeah, it's not this Euros, the next Euros, and it's been scattered around again a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a state from top to bottom of the club, really, and they still getting linked to Southgate to manage them. So
that would be funny. Spurs going to beat Man City tomorrow. They normally do. The Arsenal fans will be well chuffed. There's just a few people that got that inkling, and I can't help but probably buy into it a little bit as well. Yeah. Not sure. The scoring on Saturday is one of the best moments in West Ham season. It was. Fair play to him. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right. Andy says, with Big Andrew, Spurs would like to see them beat City. I can't forget what he did for us. Fair enough, but I'll politely disagree. I hope City put about 15 past them, just like they'll put about 15 past us on Sunday. Sean, before we move on to the Villa Liverpool game, do I have your permission to celebrate the Man City goals on Sunday?
Of course.
Oh, good. Okay, it's all right now.
Because,
okay, good.
Well,
I will.
actually, do I though? Do I? Because
if you celebrate no, you said yes. That's done. It's done.
It's making me think you're buying into a fake rivalry because of the Declan Rice transfer a little bit.
Well, no, because there's just annoyance there.
You've been sucked into the abuse from Arsenal fans mocking you all year because they've got Rice. It's not a real rivalry.
Oh, what? Should we get your book of definitions out of what a real
You've never had a rivalry
with
Arsenal, have you? Until they poach your best player ever. So
we've never liked each other, not as much as your rivalry. But I mean, if they wouldn't have took Rice, I'd have still wanted Man City to win the league, but just a little bit less. Right.
Yeah, you're getting sucked into that fake rivalry. That's what it is. You're so desperate for a rivalry. Tottenham fans are dismissing you more and more every year as a rivalry. No sign of Mill will ever come in close, even though in your lifetime you probably never even played them. So you're just desperate for someone to cling on to.
Oh, see, honestly, dearie me. Aston Villa versus Liverpool. Josh, talk, please.
Right. Yeah. I'm not confident. We're literally crawling to the finish line. The injuries we've got is just ridiculous. We're down to about 14 senior players now available. Another one who's just disappeared tonight is Matty Cash, not even in the squad. I've just seen the team. God knows where he's gone. I think it's 9 players out now. It's just ridiculous. We haven't had a fully fit team all season. I don't know how we're still fourth, to be honest, but last few weeks it's really showing. We're quite literally crawling to the finish line. It just seems the pundits, they still won't mention it. They mentioned Newcastle and Tottenham near injury crisis, but when we've had our best players out all year, it's not got to this level like where they've got now. We've got about 8 or 9 out, but we have had injuries all year. But it's gone unnoticed, and now we've coped all season. But it's finally costing us without Boubacar Kamara as our 6. It just feels like as soon as we're playing them in decent now, without a natural holding midfielder, we just get battered, which isn't ideal. Although we do have Yori Tielemans back tonight, thankfully, he's released another body in the midfield, even if he's an 8, not a 6. He's another body in the middle of the park. But yeah, the interest, it's just ridiculous, and the performances the last few weeks have been poor to say the least. Obviously, Olympiacos completely tore us apart. We just don't look fit. Douglas Luiz, he's not looked as good since Kamara's out. I think he's a player who plays a lot better when he's got Kamara behind him. When he plays next to McGinn in the middle of the park on his own, he just doesn't look anywhere near as good. But having Tielemans back is a big boost because at least we've got 3 in the middle again. But then Matty Cash injured now as well. I don't know where he's gone. We've still got Alex Moreno out, Ramsey.
Full of confidence then, Josh?
Top of my head. Not much, to be honest. I think if we get the first goal, hopefully just steam them first 10 minutes and then just sort of sit back like we played our own first half of this. Not sit back, but just drop the tempo a bit like we played first half of the season, shut them out. But yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. It's going to be difficult. Morgan Rogers as well, he's another one who was a doubtful kick-off. He's still out, so it's just, I'm not confident, but I'll absolutely take a draw. Because the way we're going, I just can't see us getting another point this season. But
flipping hell.
Well, honestly, if you've been watching our performances the last few weeks, it's been grim. But we've got Tielemans back, which is a big boost. But still, if you look at that bench, there's about 6 kids who've made about 1 senior appearance, and then you've got John Duran, Zaniolo, who's also back on the bench. He was out, and then Clement Langley, and that's it. 2 goalies and the kids. But yeah, I'll definitely take a draw.
Well, Josh, I'm going to forget everything you say in my prediction when I give it. I think Villa are going to win 2-0 because I find it quite funny if Klopp loses his penultimate game, his final away game. Your granddad is all behind the Villa tonight, of course, for obvious reasons. Exactly, even Everton beat him 2 weeks ago. So there we go. Be positive. Have some positivity. Come on. Right, quick fire predictions. Sean, Aston Villa, Liverpool.
1-2 to Liverpool.
Josh?
I'm going to go say 3-1 to Liverpool.
3-1 to Liverpool. I've gone to 2-0 to Villa, so I'm the odd one out. Let's do tomorrow night whilst we're here as well, because obviously it's pretty important. That game we won't talk about it because Josh will want to listen to Rob Hawthorne give his intro, or whoever it is tonight. So a prediction: I'm going to go Tottenham 1, Manchester City 3, hoping for that. Sean, what are you hoping for as a prediction?
Man City to beat us, really. I think the clubs are very, very happy with 5th this year from top to the bottom. So win or lose, finish 5th or 6th. I think Man City will beat us 4-2.
Josh, tomorrow night?
Well, I'm just hoping City absolutely battered them, so I'm going to go again 3-1 City.
That's the spirit. There we go. These two will rejoin me after the end of the season. We'll know who's won the title. We'll know who's won, who's claimed those European places. It will be an interesting show. We will wrap everything up. We will have a big old discussion about the season as a whole. Look ahead to next season. You don't want to miss that bumper show next week. And for the penultimate time this season, Sean and Josh, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
No problem.
Thanks everybody for joining and having a chat in the chat tonight. From me, Comedy Wines, at the Villa from Josh, at the City from Sean. See, there we go. He liked that. He liked that one. We saw you standing, and thank you very much indeed for watching. And we will see you soon. We've got a DT38 show tomorrow. There is a charity match going on at Dagenham on Saturday. We're going to. So Tracy from DT30 is going to join me tomorrow night, so check that out. That's before Spurs versus Man City. We'll then have a preview for that Man City game coming up a little nearer Sunday. But until then, I'll see you soon. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.